have two candidates on the Republican ballot for Illinois Senate District number 36, Brad Beekman and Patrick Harlan. Come on up to the front. While they're making their way up there, I'll remind you, we are taking questions. Raise your hand. We'll get some paper and pencil to you. Keep in mind, again, that the questions must apply to both candidates. They're not, we don't want questions just targeted to one candidate or the other. Please try and come up with questions that would pertain to both candidates. Thank you. Go ahead and be seated. The primary winner here will face the Democratic incumbent, Senator Michael Halpin. So please welcome these two gentlemen up to the front here. And we'll begin with introductions. Mr. Beekman, please take 1 minute to introduce yourself.
Thank you. Good evening. I want to thank the League of Women Voters here in McDonough County for holding the candidate forum. And I want to say thank you for all the proactive work you've done in our community. Your dedication over the years is clearly reflected within the many services offered here. And you truly care for your citizens, and it shows. So it's a pleasure to be here with you. My name is Brad Beekman. I'm a retired Master Sergeant with the Illinois State Police and a current candidate for the Illinois State Senate District 36. I reside here in McDonough County, outside of Bushnell, where my wife, Bambi, and I live on a farm. We've been married for over 20 years, and together we have 5 children. I graduated from Western Illinois University and went on to work 28 years in law enforcement. Now that I'm retired, I enjoy spending time with my grandchildren, working at a local bank, attending church, and serving as an elected member of the Bushnell Prairie City School Board. The 3 pillars of my campaign are to be a voice for law enforcement, an advocate for quality education, and to support agriculture and small businesses. Thank you.
Mr. Harlan.
Ready? All right. Yeah. Thank you guys for inviting us out tonight. I really enjoy this opportunity. So I'm Patrick Harlan. I'm from Galesburg, Illinois. I've been married to my wife for 28 years. We have 3 children. I'm from Galesburg, Illinois. I'm known as the blue-collar, common-sense fuel truck driver running for the 36th State Senate District. I jumped into this race because there's a lot of things that are going on right now that needs to be addressed, and you know, we can start with the Safety Act. I like to address those things. Our energy cost is extremely high, and our education system is weak. So I wanted to come out here and jump in this race to make sure that we get proper representation down there in Springfield. I feel like I can bring the best voice for that. So thank you guys so much. I look forward to this conversation.
Well, Mr. Harlan, since you mentioned the Safety Act, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, so I feel the Safety Act does need to be repealed, reformed, and replaced with something more proper for the people because right now we currently have a situation where criminals are getting locked up and out of jail before police even get a chance to write the reports. We have to be able to address that situation. We have to have victims feel safe again. We got to have law enforcement have the support that they need. And I do believe that reform does need to be made, and it's not about the size of your checkbook, but it's also about just doing proper justice reform. And I think that's where we can get back to this common sense legislation that we got too far down the path to where we've allowed it to, it's out of control. So I want to focus on complete repeal, replace, and reform that Safety Act.
Mr. Beekman, what do you think of the Illinois Safety Act?
First, I want to say I'm also opposed to the Safety Act. I do understand the legislative challenges that face any kind of repeal or amendments to that with the governor and the current supermajority that they have here in Illinois. So regarding the Safety Act, just like the sheriff candidate said, it is here. We do have to work within it. However, it is time to be bold and courageous, so we need to shoot for that to be repealed. Knowing that, we may have to make amendments to work within it. I'm also learning, since I jumped in this race, there's a difference between policy and politics. Sometimes you can get yourself in trouble by going out there and really addressing policy. But I'll just say that the Safety Act needs repealed. I do agree with certain aspects of it, with officers' disciplinary files following them, body cameras, and things of that nature, but the no cash bail and the detention hearings cannot be in our judicial system. Thank you.
Mr. Harlan, any rebuttal or response to that?
I'll just respond by saying I know we're going the right path because J.B. Pritzker come out and said that he even says this is bad policy. The Democrats are realizing this is bad policy, so I know that people are ready for change, and they know that they took it too far to the wrong direction. So we are definitely moving in the right direction finally.
Next question, Mr. Beekman. Do you think the state is funding public higher education adequately? And please elaborate on why you feel the way you do.
I don't believe the state is doing enough to properly fund higher education. They have made some improvements in filing your FAFSA forms. So I do know that there are people that want to make that process easier for higher education. When I went to school, there was a lot more funds and resources available, such as the Pell Grant. A lot of the student loans were subsidized through the state and the government. They weren't private sector loans. That made it affordable for me to be able to go to college, and it made it affordable that I could pay those loans back. So I don't think we're doing enough for the public or the funding for the higher education.
Mr. Harlan, do you think the state is funding public higher education adequately? And please elaborate on why you feel the way you do.
I feel we get wrapped up in this whole funding adequately. Yes, I feel as if there's plenty of funding, just the return of investment isn't proper. I mean, a prime example is WIU. We have potential there for 14,000 students. We're sitting there with 5,000. You know, I mean, if we're going to be using money, let's make sure we're making that a world-class trade school, or making the best resources available and get that money kicked back into where it actually belongs. I feel as if we continue throwing money at something, that's not going to fix the problem until we figure out what the real solution is here. And constantly throwing money at stuff with no return of your value, we're not getting the results that we're looking for.
Mr. Beekman, any rebuttal or response to that?
No rebuttal. I'll just add that with the current enrollment at WIU, I think we're missing the mark on our recruiting. I think we need to look at the local kids that we have and address the talents that they have in agriculture and the trade schools. And Patrick is right. We have a lot of empty buildings there at WIU that could be filled with trade schools, and we really need to cater towards local recruiting.
Mr. Harlan, due to the elimination of SNAP funds, how do you plan to assist local communities with food insecurity for seniors and children?
That's a rich question. Honestly, we could actually. So here's I feel like the issue is that the elimination of SNAP funds comes down to, you know, the federal government exactly not working with the state government because the state's not fulfilling their obligation. You've got me twisted. You know, I'm twisted up on that one. So I have no solution. I don't have an answer for that.
Okay, Mr. Beekman, SNAP funds. How do you plan to assist local communities with food insecurity for seniors and children?
First, we need to look at the funding for the SNAP funds. Secondly, they need to be properly managed, and I think that can be done through private audits. We need transparency in our government, and we do need to work with the federal government. We need a state that moves towards having an orderly government and serving the health and welfare of the people. So I think there's adequate funding there. It just needs properly managed. It needs properly distributed, and those funds are necessary for our communities.
Mr. Harlan, anything else on that?
No.
Mr. Beekman, what can the state do to attract more businesses and jobs to this part of Illinois?
One of the things that I run on and advocate for is small businesses. During that process, I made a point to visit many small businesses here in Macomb, if not all of them, many small businesses in Monmouth and Galesburg. And the common theme was they're not designed to compete with large corporations, and they shouldn't have to. We really need a different set of regulations and rules for the small businesses that give them the opportunity to free up and compete. There's a whole issue with the $15 hour minimum wage. We hear of other bills that are being proposed to increase that, and our small businesses cannot compete with that. We really need to support them through their own separate laws and rules and regulations. Thank
Mr. Harlan, what can the state do to attract more businesses and jobs to this part of Illinois?
Cut the regulation, red tape, be more business friendly, make sure we bring our taxes down, bring our energy costs down, focus on our local talent, bring manufacturing back again so we're actually able to start producing something here and give people a reason to stay and bring your housing costs, make it more affordable.
Mr. Beekman, anything else?
No.
I'm going to repeat a question that came from the audience in the last round. Start with you, Mr. Harlan. How should we regulate data centers in Illinois?
And I'm not a big fan of the data centers. You know, it just sucks the life out of the area it goes into. It pulls a lot of energy. It pulls a lot of resources. It does pull a lot of water. I really feel as if we need to be making sure that we are regulating that properly, and of course make sure that that is owned by the United States, and make sure that, you know, I would love to see local counties have the say in what's going on inside their local jurisdictions, rather than just dumping these things inside of places and sucking the life out of these communities.
Mr. Beekman, how should we regulate data centers in Illinois?
I think the best way to regulate the data centers is to, first of all, decide where we're going to put them. And I think that's going to depend on our electric grid systems and the water that's available to run those data centers. So first we would need to strategically place those. As the other panel said, they're right, they're not going away. It's come to this where all this data needs to be stored and needs to be stored properly. Those data centers also create a tremendous amount of tax revenue for those districts. So while we are evaluating the logistics or the infrastructure to place those data centers, we also need to look at the communities that could use a boost to their tax base. Thank you.
Anything you'd like to add to that?
No, sir.
Mr. Beekman, where do you stand on the development of wind, solar, and geothermal energy in our region?
Continuing with the discussion from the earlier panel, I agree that we need all sources of power in Illinois. We have invested a lot of money in wind and solar. I don't agree with how it was necessarily invested, and I don't agree with how those solar fields, where they were built. But regardless, that's done. Moving forward, we need to look at improving the infrastructure into non-renewable resources, nuclear power plants, and we need to do that wisely and look at the waste that it creates, because there is no perfect form of energy. And there again, we need to invest in the coal plants. We have those resources here. We have the infrastructure here. We need to maintain it and support it.
Mr. Harlan, where do you stand on the development of wind, solar, and geothermal energy in our region?
Solar belongs over parking lots, not inside of cornfields. You know, I believe that if you're going to have wind and solar, it needs to be on the same playing field as the rest of the energy. We shouldn't be subsidizing it as heavy as what we are. You know, let's make a fair, level playing field here to where it's all competitive. You know, we need to be able to get our energy back up again. We shut our peaker plants off, so we're bringing in dirty coal from other states, sending our tax dollars across the state lines and get our own coal going again. So when it comes down to wind and solar, put them over parking lots and keep them out of the cornfields.
Anything you'd like to add, Mr. Beekman?
No.
Mr. Harlan, Democratic politicians hold strong majorities in the legislature. What could you, as a Republican lawmaker, do to make sure legislation that benefits your district is heard and eventually passed?
Well, I believe there are three things that Democrats, Republicans, Independents all agree on. We all want to be safe, we all want more money in our pocket, and we all want our kids to be smart when they come out of school. Those are three things we can all work upon, and those are where I can work across the aisle on anybody with. So going down there, we can definitely talk about those solutions, and I feel like we can make it happen.
Mr. Beekman, Democratic politicians hold strong majorities in the legislature. What could you, as a Republican lawmaker, do to make sure legislation that benefits your district is heard and eventually passed?
We need leadership, proven leadership, And with that comes building relationships. And anybody that has experience in leadership will tell you, number one, you lead by example, and two, you do that by investing in the people that you work with and that you serve. So I would follow that by building relationships with the Democrats and fellow Republicans. You know, this job is not going to be easy. There's going to be a big learning curve should I make it through to the state Senate to represent everyone here. And I'm willing to do that, but it comes from being respectful, building relationships, getting to know people, finding common ground, and discussing the laws that we can bring back to the people that will help us prosper.
Mr. Harlan, anything you want to add?
No, sir.
Time for concluding remarks right now. Mr. Harlan, we'll start with you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you again for everybody for coming out here tonight. Look, we're on a situation here where if you want things to stay the same, continue voting the same way that we are. You know, keep the same leadership in there. We're ready for change. You want somebody who wakes up every day at 2 o'clock in the morning, punches the time clock, puts in 12 hours a day, you know, and then continues to go out here and campaign and fight for you guys at night. I'm that guy. This is what I do on a regular basis every day. I'm not going to stop. I want to make sure that we do succeed. I want us all to be prosperous again. I know for sure that when I go down to Springfield, the things that I can bring are the values that I bring to represent this district is what these true values are. I want everybody to be successful. And that's when you're ready for change, I'm asking that you vote for me here on March 17th. Thank you very much.
Mr. Beekman?
I'll just say that Illinois is worth fighting for, and our communities deserve to feel safe, our schools deserve stable and reliable funding, and our local farmers and small businesses deserve a government that helps them grow. Thousands of families that were born and raised here, that have raised their families here, are leaving Illinois. That's a fact. We have the highest property taxes in the country, yet we continue with wasteful spending. Our electric bills are climbing, yet we are tearing down our power plants. Our small businesses are expected to compete under the same rules as large corporations, so our policies that we currently have don't work. I would appreciate your support and your vote. Thank you.
Please thank these candidates for participating this evening. Thank you.